in the regular season thus far as well. We'll see whether Zeus is going to be able to show us a thing or three, though, as we dive into the draft for game number 1. Rumble already going to be taken away. Sobro giggling about that one, which is good to see. That even Ryu had a smile on his face, and that is so rare.
You love to see it, though. You love to see when you're a player who's still pretty
Vibes are up. Vibes are definitely up.
It feels good when you're playing against Zeus and they target ban your Rumble. That means Zeus doesn't think he can beat you with anything no matter what the matchup is. It's like, okay, well, I don't want him to have that. I respect him that much.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
So 2 undefeated champs for Zeka have been banned away, one by themselves and one by the opposition. An interesting situation here, because I'm wondering, like, is it just we're going for Jace first pick, or is it we need to get a jungler? And
I think they can go for Pantheon first pick is pretty safe. They can go for the Jace first pick. There's a lot of flexibility here, but you're giving up a lot.
Oh, Azir.
With the Taliyah ban,
that's what I missed. I was like, there's something I'm missing here.
Our LCK mids have really devolved into tier list encounters, and so when Taliyah's gone, you're like, well, I better get Azir, or they'll get Azir, and there's no Taliyah to respond. Even though there are champs you could play into Azir, we don't do that here at the LCK. We just play by the list. And over the Pantheon, Raptor looks for the Xin Zhao pick here instead, giving it some time, giving it some thought, however. And we'll see if they want to get the Jace with this, take that one away from Zeus. The other plan is to wait and see if he picks it and try to play something tanky into it. Diablo's been pretty good on this Varus pick. They're actually going to try to prioritize that one away from Viper, because Viper is obviously an insane Varus himself, and it gives you a pretty good win con in the lane. And like I said, losing the lane to Hanwha Life is what basically every team does in the LCK, so trying to minimize that feels smart.
Yeah, I was actually wondering whether Peanut would go towards the Trundle, which has gone up in priority here in the LCK, something that he's played a lot over his career. And there is the hover change. Of course, the expected pick is the Pantheon at this point in time, because the Xin Pantheon trade has been something we've been seeing so much. But instead, the Scion's going to be locked in, and now I think Zeka will just lock away the Trundle for Peanut.
Yeah, you have to get Trundle here, otherwise, you know, it's going to get banned away 100%. And
I like it.
Yeah, I think this is pretty wise, because with this draft, it gives you a lot of power in the mid lane with the damage that Azir has. And we knew the Ahri was likely coming with the Xin Zhao lock-in here. So what you get with... Okay, this was not expected. Yeah, it's going to be Ahri.
Just a bunch of ladies being hovered for a moment until the Ahri.
Because if you go Pantheon, then you need to have like a winning side lane in the top lane. You already have a strong side laner in the Azir and a lot of damage there. And this offers a lot of different front-to-back compositions here for Viper to play through as well. It's hard to target ban Viper now in the draft. Sure, you got the Varus, but there's so many champions that Viper can play with the front line here. So the Senna being one of the scariest ones, so that's going to be the first one they take away, but you can't stop him from playing everything that is strong in this meta.
Yeah, I think Senna Jhin are probably the bans if you just want to get rid of what Viper wants to play right now. Although, actually, no, I think a hyper carry would be good.
Yeah,
with the Scion Trundle not representing a lot of damage.
You could even play like Jinx Lulu, and it feels really good with this draft. Like, there's just too many options here.
I didn't think about the Jinx. The Jinx actually can match range relatively well, although it does still have a rough time into Varus just in general. A lot of champions do.
It will have a bad time. It's not going to win you the lane, but it's so good for late game team fights. So they ban the Nico away here. There's the Jhin that you mentioned. You could also ban the Alistar, which we always see in this spot. Usually it's where the Nico was, but either way.
Is it Renata?
Could be Renata. Ezreal also feels, I feel, fairly risky here for Diablo, because there's a huge front line you have to get through, and even though you have safety with your Arcane Shift, it's not about dive that you're going to be dealing with. This is not really what I expected, however. I thought maybe we'd see something like a Yorick here in the top lane, or a Nidalee, just to try to get bigger advantages there and try to win that lane and have a strong power point up there. As Lucian...
Oh god, okay, so it could just be Lucian Braum that has been so incredibly strong here towards the bottom side. The Braum also okay into a lot of the supports that are left outside of the Renata that they would be playing right into.
What I love about Lucian into Ahri is, you know, if the Ahri tries to go in for a charm onto the jungler, or tries to charm the Braum even, or the Azir in the front line, you just go in and blast out a rotation of your abilities, and the Ahri is at half health or less. The Lucian just responds so quickly, so fast, and does so much burst that the Ahri needs to get that reset ASAP, and the whole team has to be perfectly coordinated or she just dies. As the Renata you mentioned does finally come through here.
I mean, it's Kellen as well. This is a really powerful lane. Of course, the Braum will still have some utility for blocking some of what she wants to do, but I do feel like Renata in the lane is going to be so incredibly powerful. So it is once again one of those scenarios where Hanwha Esports are going to be on the back foot towards the bottom side of the map. I do think, like, weirdly enough, Sion's going to have priority on the top side.
That definitely can happen.
It can. And I think they're going to be looking towards Peanut to try and string this together, because this is a composition that does a lot of things mid to late game and isn't necessarily able to get a whole lot of that power early on. So HLE might be off to a rough start.
I'm kind of worried, though, about what happens in late game team fights with the Ambessa, because if she goes in trying to catch the Azir, he can just say no with his ultimate, and Lucian, if you try to catch him, you're so deep into the fight then that Trundle just presses R on you and then you disappear.
Yeah.
Everyone just attacks you and you pop, so playing out team fights later on, if you have an advantage, I think is quite strong here for the side of BNK, but I do like what Hanwha's late game looks like. I like what their side lanes look like here as well, and they've saved a lot of options for the rest of these upcoming drafts in this Fearless best of 3. There are other picks they could have gone for. Like, they could have gone for the Pantheon, but they opt to leave it.
I love those Viking beanies. They're the best.
And with the glasses, like, it's kind of a vibe. Like, it's kind of Zeus looking.
Yeah, there's like... Oh man, I'd be having such a good time if I was them. I'm actually feeling a little bit jealous. Maybe we can send someone on a mission to find one of those Viking beanies so that we can cast in them for the rest of the day. Although, my God, that would be so incredibly hot. But it does not matter, right? It doesn't matter, because you get to be a Viking, and that's just awesome.
I'd wear it.
Let's go into the Rift, game number 1. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We unfortunately do not have Viking beanies, but what we do have is the will to buy them if we find out how. And that might be enough to get us through the day. Wolf, what do you reckon?
I think just looking at that fan with the Olaf beanie, I don't even know if I'd call it a beanie, just helm, made of fabric.
Oh, fantastic.
It was enough for me.
Helm.
It's enough for me. So, see what this level 1 looks like, because Braum.
Yep.
Braum good level 1.
Braum good level 1. I love that. That's what it is. As Daystar not going to get aggressed on, didn't move too far up the lane. Good stuff. They are going to spot out this ward and look to get rid of it. As Merry Christmas says Peanut, as he puts down that ward there as well. Knows exactly what's going on around these wolves, and we'll be starting here towards the enemy blue buff. So
we've seen so many of these.
Yeah,
starts
the vertical jungling ensuing.
Yeah, we have so many of these starts with the Trundle Braum, and just Trundle in general with a lot of winning bottom side lanes. You can do a ton of early game pressure with it, and they'll catch the wave down the bottom side, knowing that the range advantage that the Varus and the Renata has means that they were going to lose that exchange anyway. So they just avoid the interaction, get Peanut the start on his opposing jungle's number there, the start on the blue buff, and then we'll catch the wave and we'll be able to chill and get level 2 slowly, but we'll be actually fine, so nothing really lost here. A good usage of the Braum. And if anyone makes a mistake on BNK's side, like if somebody goes too far in there or Daystar decides he wants to ward that brush, then he might have to flash. So just a lot of power in this level 1.
Yep, and they utilize it quite well, especially with the fact that now it means that it's harder for Raptor to stick around towards the bottom side, doesn't get to take his blue buff, things like that. Definitely needs to make sure that he's staying up in the experience. So it means that they should have the ability to, you know, throw Peanut into the lane and try and get this lane in a better position. Because as we can see, it's not looking too hot.
No. That ward was not killed in the tri-brush there, and Peanut will be seen as he comes over, but he can relieve the pressure here. As long as he's respected, should be fine for Diablo and Kellen, but like that he can come over here and relieve some of this. Ward gets dropped. They're being respectful. We saw that Ozir streak, as Peanut's just going to come in anyways.
Yep, there's the flash, but the flash out from Kellen was good. That's 3 summoner spells that they put on cooldown, but still, no first blood going to happen here.
It's the wave that's in such an awkward spot here for Diablo and Kellen. That means they know that Peanut's there, but they're like, we really need to get that experience, get that money, and sadly for them, that'll force a flash. But I was just going to mention the Azir loss streak, as every time I try to mention it, we're going to have a scuffle.
Yeah, I was trying to tell a story yesterday. It took me about 400 years to get it out, so I completely understand you. That is going to be the Rift Scuttle, actually taken here by Raptor though. Peanut going to have to take the long walk towards the top side. Bit of a jungle tempo advantage here, as Kellen not going to find the handshake. And as we expected, things going kind of okay here for the Scion in the early stages of the lane.
Yeah, grasping firmly as he does. Anyway, now we can talk about Azir for just a second, because we saw a list of those names. A lot of them were on our Rise group players, and then it's like, when we had that graphic come up with Zeka hard pushing the lane and having a good time into Ahri, as you often do in this matchup. So I'm not worried about the loss streak here when it comes to Zeka playing this champion that, you know, 2-3 years ago, we were like, he's not really an Azir guy. Like, he's middle of the pack at best. You know, he's had some rough Azir games, but... Which
is so funny, because he was playing it so much when he won Worlds.
Yeah. So then we were like, I guess he fixed it. He figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, literally before Worlds, when DRX was a fringe bottom-of-the-table team, barely in the qualifiers team, we were like, yeah, no, he can't play it. There's no chance.
Nope.
And we also didn't think there would be any way they'd go to Worlds, and then Zeka really showed what he was capable of and has iterated on and improved on his champion pool since. We've talked about it a lot, but I'd say he's one of the scariest Azirs you can face in the LCK. We have quite a few of them. Cut your Chovies, your Fakers, your BDDs.
You've even got, like, it's the year of closer as well, remember?
True.
His Azir has actually looked pretty good. So yeah, there's definitely like a 6 Azir players, like, of notable skill level here in the LCK, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not even enough. Maybe it's like 8. Which is almost everyone, which is very, very silly. Here you've got Viper and Delight just pushing up into Sobro. We'll see whether it is going to be a plate going on over, as Peanut is trying to set up for a dive here, and he just walks on in, puts down the ground, and there is the concussive blows. They'll just get the flash out from Sobro and go about their business, and maybe just look for a redive as he does dodge out of the way as Viper picks up the turret aggro. Sobro outplays him, and that's going to be first blood going over to BNK FEARX.
Bit of a miss there. The turret aggro swapping over as Delight takes it first, and they go for the redive, and Peanut has a ton of health, but Viper picking up the aggro is just the end of that. He also dies, tries to dash out of it, but does not get out of the aggro range in time. I suppose maybe if he had flash dashed there, he could have gotten out of it. The dive would have failed, but just an awkward situation all around as Delight takes the aggro first to start setting up the concussive blows here. And Sobro is just stunned, flashes, and that could have been the end of it.
Yeah, it could have been fine. It could have been just take a plate and then like
Viper,
and then run away.
He aggroed first before Peanut there.
Yeah, that was
Peanut didn't pick it up at all. Just mistimed the follow-up, and he just dies.
Well, Peanut says thank you for your sacrifice as he goes to take the enemy Krug camp before going home. So at least there's that, you know. Still, HLE going to be even in gold, things like that. Laning phase going just fine here for the squad, but certainly for Sobro, this is fantastic news because you can see he's falling so far behind. It's almost 20 CS, kind of crazy. This is kind of fresh off a reset, but you can see Zeus has a large wave to pick up here, so it's not going to improve anytime soon.
There's a lot of matchups into Sion where you can just outrange him, and yeah, you can't kill him, but you can constantly chip away at him, so he has to play defensively. And Bess is not really one of those matchups. He's like, yeah, I'll grasp with you, I'll trade with you, it's fine. You can see this is the best Sobro can hope to offer here, and it's really tough. The resistance shred comes through, and Zeus can just hold his own here. He's got a cookie in his inventory. And that's why I was surprised we didn't see something like the Yorick, where you can really kind of keep him at bay and chip away at his health and play that way. Yeah,
at least right now, with the fact that Sobro has been able to at least pick up his first bit of an item, he's feeling a little better. But like you were talking about, I don't know whether it's going to get so much better super quickly, because I think Zeus like completes even just a Balmy Cinder and he's going to be feeling better. But as soon as that Sunfire capes in, even wave control is going to be a difficulty here for Sobro. And Zeus takes that cannon and is just going to go back home. Not a lot of blue stuff left over, as you can see, has a slight gold lead. Nothing too much. Is now BNK FEARX immediately starting off these grubs. And it looks like HLE not in position to take these. They also got the dragon, so this is going to be very close to feats of strength going over to them as far as these objectives are concerned. Yeah, and a good start.
We just don't see any sort of wraparound here for Viper and Delight. They can't get close enough, and the Azir ultimate's so powerful in skirmishes like this, especially pre-level 6 for the Renata, but the timing is so perfect here for BNK. They end up getting that prio and take 2 grubs. They don't fight their way for the third one. Just going to leave that one up and available. I suppose Raptor could come back and look for it if there is no sort of grab on that one from Peanut. A bit bizarre, but they just wanted to play it safe
Yep.
You only get one smite, so...
It is a good look, though, for BNK FEARX here.
Yeah, no, it's a great start.
Like, the problem is, the Dragons are looking dicey. Like, I know Orcs is here today. He has an absolutely adorable cardigan on as well. You guys should definitely get ready for that on the space. Degon's color coordination of his shirt and his hair as well. Oh my goodness, the space is going to go completely off as far as the fashion is concerned. But I digress. It does mean Orcs is here and he could be paying attention for when we get this next dragon.
Yeah, it could be Mountain Soul.
It could.
That would be...
that could be a very, very large scion.
It very much could be. It could be a large scion that's got 4 stacked mountain dragons into Mountain Soul as well. If BNK get this next dragon, the Hex Tech. Two dragons to start off when you have the Infernal and the Hex Tech. You're like, oh, it's not going to be the best and most coolest ones, but there's still
Cloud.
Yeah, still a few cool ones left here.
Imagine if it was Cloud. As oh dear, Spirit Rush not enough to get out of the way, but still able to get him over the wall afterwards. So should be fine. No flash required. Just a trade of ults here between the 2 mid laners.
Yeah, no concussive blows procced there, so Daystar doesn't have to worry about even flashing or anything like that. So handles it relatively well there.
Yep, Delight not necessarily brauming as effectively as he otherwise could. It's another Winter's Bite that he's unable to find.
Yeah.
Try and lock down these players, although I don't know whether Daystar would have been in too much trouble. So might have got a flash.
And BNK are going to come up here and take this final grub, but this is kind of awkward because it gives a little bit of a window here for HLE with that prio gap here to potentially take the dragon for free. Like, 3rd grub or a single elemental dragon. I think.
And they'd already just stopped on the grubs because they didn't really need to, right? And they decided to hold on to tempo instead. As oh god, okay, well that teleport was not the one he wanted there. Zeka, as he does shift the sands, gets himself out of the way as the piercing arrow dodged there by Zeka here for now. But he, teleports back and has to flash immediately. That does give them a little bit of time to get vision around this dragon. And Zeus walking over a bunch of vision, but he's on his way to try and fight for this one.
Yeah, Viper just trying to grab another plate here as Zeus coming down, as you mentioned. The window of this is pretty tight. I don't think BNK can secure this without a, just straight up 4v4 fight here potentially. And because Zeka's also coming back.
Oh dear.
Daystar.
Yeah, Daystar does not have his R button available as the culling is going to come on through, and there is the pillar. There is nowhere for him to go. I really think it's smart though. Valdez's boy Daystar not using his flash in that instance. He was very, very dead. The mistake had happened prior. Yeah. Let's not make it worse.
Yeah, no, certainly the right call there. But they're still going to give out this dragon, which we had like the... weird teleport from Zeka, which cost him arguably both of his summoners because he teleported in to then lose his flash.
Can we get an Orcs check? Can we get an Orcs check as well as this dragon's going down?
Let's see.
Want to see whether this is going to be a Chemtech or not.
That's Cloud. That's the Atlas check. He's right next.
God! Well, I mean, I was paying attention. You know that. I'm right here. I was calling for the Orcs check, It's, that's extra layers of attention. So here we go. This is a banger day as far as Dragons are concerned.
It's pretty good for both teams, the Cloud Soul, and it often is. The movement speed, of course, very useful on the map as well for rotations. But
do you know what I love? I now stay appraised of like almost all like dragon statistics at all times because people link me anytime the Cloud Soul is doing well. And do you know what? It's just always really good.
Yeah.
Highest win rate Soul in the game at this current time. And I just think that that's happened over so many years. It's kind of crazy.
No, I think we all knew when it was your favorite that was going to be the case.
It's just favorite.
But it's good that the stats back it up because some of the memes that we do here and some of the curses and all that don't necessarily get backed up by stats, even though they are in fact real. The dragons
I did travel to LA with Maddie Froxon, who's the lead on balance at the moment for my D-Noob in 2014. So I've known the guy for a long time. So maybe that's
told you the secret back then?
Yeah, he told me the secret back then, and also I've been feeding him information just to make sure that we can keep Cloud Soul on top.
So I want to take a quick snapshot of like where we are in this game, where the Sion has a lead. Like, that's a very small lead, obviously, but there's a lead there. He has a 20 CS lead. Part of this is because Sobro picked up that kill earlier. And then you have this massive laning lead for Zeka, and then Viper's been left alone. And they picked up so many plates. Like, there's a plate top side, there's 2 plates down the bottom side that have been picked up here for Hanwha Life Esports. They just have gotten more out of the Rift. So even though it's a 1-to-1 kill score here, they also got that Dragon arguably for free when BNK grouped up after not grouping up initially when they went for the 3rd grub. And then they ended up overextending with Daystar as the rest of the team backed out. So the Dragon just went over, they got a kill there. And the tempo is definitely feeling really good for Hanwha Life because they have this comp that has great front to back later on and great scaling with this Azir. The side lane of the Azir is going to be weakened by the fact that he picked up no grubs, but it's still a big threat if left alone in a side with his Nashor's Tooth. So BNK, I feel like the early game was looking great for them. They were holding their own. They got that first dragon. They were able to control grubs, but I mean, Sobro's defense there on the top side was good, but now we're like watching the Sion chase a... well, I mean, he's just looking for a proxy, but it looks like he's chasing him away.
He kind of is, and Sobro knows that there's not a whole lot he can do to him right now. With the Bramble Vest already completed, this guy has got armor for days.
Viper is trying to get his turret, hit by turret shots stat up today.
And also his hitting turret stat. I feel like every time we look at Viper, he is pushing as far up as he possibly can. And it has actually worked out for him, as we can see here, even on CS, but does have a bunch more money. And a lot of that is going to be the plates. Only 1 kill on the back of this Lucian.
Yeah.
And do you know what's really interesting, Wolf? I feel like this composition for HLE almost perfectly epitomizes who they are as a team.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
It's just like, if you wait, we will beat you. Like, this is, like, we don't really care whether we fall behind, whether we make errors in the early game. Like, we're going to win later on, do something about it, or just lose.
And in the moments leading up to this Herald contest, Delight's going to have to face check.
Well, does he have to? He definitely does face check, and in fact, he just puts up the door and he's fine. Man, that's some extra points into the door, I reckon, as the train has left the station. Kellen is going to leave the Rift. Has no bailout for him. It's a double kill of the bottom lane for the Sion in an instant. As the public execution onto Viper, he could be going down, bounced around. Is going to fall, but I just don't know whether it's going to not be enough to save BNK FEARX here as Daystar looking for the charm. Another flash Winter's Bite goes wide there. Delight is at least consistent in this game. And HLE still very happy with the outcome as, oh dear, that charm is going to connect as Delight gets in there with the door. Just stop Zeka from taking that damage.
Without Peanut, they can't go directly into this Herald easily. Raptor is also down, but low health bars here. Zayas is going to have to push this wave out first, and I think they should eventually be able to secure this, but it was not the fight they were looking for. The key thing about this I was going to mention right before was Viper pushed the mid wave out, right? Delight picks up Locket. So Delight actually has Locket. He has that big advantage when he goes in for this face check, has his door up, has his ultimate here, and he's just happy to go in and tank it because they knew they were there. They knew they had the numbers advantage. Sobro was still showing bottom, and Kellen gets deleted here. Sobro goes in to try to turn this play. And yeah, I wasn't going to get super deep into that, but Raptor does get ulted in, tries to turn on to Zayas, but Zayas is super tanky. And yes, Viper was on the wrong side of the fight, does get taken out here, but was never going to be an extended fight you could win here at this point for BNK. Daystar narrowly avoids that Winter's Bite, but like, Delight got the Locket, they were set up, they were like, all right, we're going to force this fight. I know they're likely in this bush, and we're ready to just pounce on them because Braum can tank it. We can just ult them and then turn with Zayas coming in with his ultimate. Like, I feel like even though they couldn't see, they knew everything.
Well, Daystar is able to use his ult to get out of the way of the Sion, but that was very scary. And yeah, this could have been way worse for BNK FEARX. I think I oversold it as far as a win for HLE just because of the shenanigans that happened immediately afterwards. Rift Herald does come on through though. That is going to spell the end of this outer turret as Diablo takes a full culling to the head. And now Zeka is going for a bit of a drive. Peanut turns up, finds Daystar yet again. Remember, doesn't have the ulti. And the Azir is coming in. My God, the drifting on this man. Just swoops onto the turret, takes it down. And now it is Zayas' turn. All right, checking the brush there as well. Man, HLE is showing off. Have they been taking driving lessons from Peanut? Because of his cool motorcycle driving that he had that season that one time as Raptor's dead. Crescent Guard does do a fair bit of work there in that moment. Public execution into the backline for Sobro, but the Emperor's Divide says, no, you are not dashing out of that one, and it's Delight that gets the kill. Zeka gonna flash immediately. as he was extraordinarily low. And Zeus feels immortal. I don't know whether he necessarily is, especially not against this on-hit Varus, but that was a lot of fun and a lot of winning for HLE.
If the pillar was a little bit further back there, Diablo might have had to flash, actually. But watch the damage that comes out of Peanut here when he goes onto this Ahri. Like, it's actually, he gets charmed. He's like, yeah, I don't care, drops another pillar.
My
Ults, chomps, and autos, goodbye. It was just like, goodbye. Basically a solo kill. Like, Zeus hit him before that, but, I mean, by all intents and purposes, a solo kill there. And then this is the front-to-back fighting that you can do with this comp. And like I said, when Sobro goes on to Viper, he's like, ooh, I kind of don't want to be here. I'm stuck in here. There's a lot of damage here. And when it's this disjointed, it's not really truly the kind of front-to-back team fight I'm talking about, where we're going to see on objectives where, you know, 5 champions on both sides start off a fight. But when it's broken up like this, I mean, BNK do fall like dominoes.
Well, nice handshake there from Kellen onto Viper, but he takes a Winter's Bite. That one's going to land. Viper does have to get himself out of the way, but just has to use a dash for it. Daystar will find the angle on this bottom lane, though, and there are some resets to come in. A double kill for Diablo at the same time. BNK FEARX going to be very happy about that, even if they aren't necessarily out of the woods.
Say a lot of things about how Viper is playing this first game, but respectful, I would think, would not be one to describe it as.
No, well, this is not respectful, but like, does Zeus need to? It's a bailout. Let's see whether that is going to work out. They almost take down Peanut, the subjugate. Almost working there. Is Sobro going to come in? Is 3 people enough to kill Zeus? No. The answer is no, ladies and gentlemen, as in comes Zeka, finds an Emperor's Divide. The handshake's decent, but not decent enough. And yeah, Zeus is a problem, and I do not have the solution. You know, this is like fast and light technology, you know? Like, how do we get to that? Well, maybe it's just impossible.
I just don't. Maybe it is. Because this was, like, not necessary from Viper to play this like this. Delight gets left out to dry, then Viper gets charmed, and, like, not entirely sure what we're doing here. I guess the idea was Zeus can TP at any moment if it goes sour, if it takes us too long. He did show up, but too late. And then he goes in here and is able to get the fully charged Q onto Diablo. Kellen does his best to help him out, but the bailout is actually super close here. He even flashes to try to guarantee it, but is unsuccessful. And Otacon does go over in the meantime, because it was a trade up there for Hanwha Life, and we're better in control over the map. The push from Zeka in the bottom lane was there. So they kind of just go over and take that. We don't need to watch it. You know, it's Gnasher's Tooth, Azir things, whatever. But
yeah, this feels so unfair, though, doesn't it? I feel like there are so many moments for BNK that look kind of okay, and then a big zombie guy comes over and kills everyone.
When you think about almost every moment that's gone well for BNK this game, though, it's been Hanwha Life messing something up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Viper taking the turret aggro in the top lane, he and Delight overextending in mid. You know, the shenanigans that ensued around the setup there for the Herald, or sorry, the Grubs, and, you know, these weird wonky trades keep happening, but somebody's always pushing. It's like, oh, Hanwha Life traded a little bit badly, but they're winning on the map, you know? And the side laning here doesn't get easier. Rylai's picked this time into the Ambessa.
Yeah.
More common, but he'll have the Leandri's third. And then he's really going to start hurting anyone he interacts with, even for a moment.
Yeah, and like right now, it's so hard. Nash's and the Rylai's means that if Zeka is discovered in a side lane, he's also got the Merc Treads as well, so if a Charm comes in or something like that, he's not going to be as worried about it. But he just kites so effectively.
You can't really take him down before the rest of the team can respond in most cases, which is already an issue.
Oh, Delight, that was sexy. I think he got the steal, right? I did see money come up over his head. All right, Raptor going to split the fight here, but the door is doing so much. Public execution into the backline as Sobro finds Viper. They execute him, they take him down. Remember, the Scion still exists. Zeka trying to get the DPS down, but he will fall. And Peanut, the next one, just throwing this club into the opposition. Diablo doesn't get bailed out. And it's so far a 2 for 2. The disengaged cone going to come on through there as Zeus, he doesn't quite have the keys to the train right now, and he only has like 700 health. Let's see whether that's going to be enough. Soul Furnace comes up, and he will explode, but there's 1,090 gold for Sobro.
That's a lot of money. And that is a trade up finally here for BNK, but they had to use so many resources to do it that, guess what, Viper's up, Zeka's up in 10.
I want to have a look at the damage graph and see, like, Zeus at the very top of the damage graph, because that's very funny. Look at this fight.
Look at the positioning of where everyone goes after this ult from Sobro. Zeka's here, he's trying to peel, but the angle is super awkward. Daystar's just surfing on the edge here as well, and they can't, he could have potentially ended up
he outplayed that Empress Divide really well.
And then, like, Daystar is just constantly applying damage here, and Zeus ends up getting the kill on the other side as the dragon. Okay, we're just fighting for a dead dragon.
Yep, we're going for it again as the culling is just going to be eaten by the entire team. Zeka on a great flank angle as the handshake onto Delight is not fantastic, and Raptor doesn't have that Crescent Guard anymore. Still, they take down Delight, but look at this AoE. It's kind of repulsive. Raptor knows that he's going to go down, and now, oh god, that is not the ticket that they wanted to pick up. As Zeus will find the angle, the flash forward from Kellen. He will be able to take down Viper here, who's just really not having his most fun day today. The revenge is going to be instant, but HLE, they'll find everyone except Sobero in that last fight.
And they get the dragon here, and it's the tempo that Hanwha have had this whole game. I know tempo's been kind of a caster meme word over the years, but like, when you keep trading in these fights but end up having the faster show up to the objective because it took so long to kill Zeus, for example, you know Zeus has TP coming back up, so when he responds, he can come into the mid lane. It's moments like these where Hanwha, it looks like, okay, they kind of lost out in the fight. It was a 3 for 2. That's a win for BNK, right? But not really, because Hanwha get the faster setup. This is such a fed Scion. He TPs in. Kellen gets the kill here, which means it's not really gold that going to anyone that's relevant in this game. And Hanwha Life get another dragon. They keep that map control. They keep that side lane control. They've taken so many plates. And Zeka's really such a force to be reckoned with in this game now. I mean, he's hard to lock down. He is hard to escape from.
Oh, well, Emperor's Divide is... It's easier to escape from when you are the Foxy Lady and you can just turn into a fox and dash away. So that's going to help out. Still, they just trade ult for ult, and I think that that's what they were looking for. Every time Daystar has been without ultimate, he has died like a minute later. And last time it was Peanut walking up to him and hitting him with a club.
Yeah.
Like, and there was nothing he could do.
BNK have a ton of pry up for this Baron right now, but it's not going to last. Zeus is going to clear this top wave out, and the rest of the team is rotating over. That mid turret being full health here is such a problem for BNK, because even when they clear waves, the turret just says no, and then they end up getting the group up there. So I don't think there was any world where they could have done a 25-minute Baron, but
all right, it's time to engage onto the Scion, and maybe it's going to work because Diablo is able to just get all of these Blight stacks on top of him. Hostile Takeover doesn't do too much, but it does enough. So Zeus going to start this fight off dead, and HLE in this 4v5 not going to be feeling too good about it. It could be a Baron angle here for BNK FEARX.
He used so much though, and they still have to stick to the Baron, and Daystar's cut off. I don't know about this. Sobero's got a nice angle.
Oh god, this is that minute later that we were talking about before. He does actually have enough CDR to get that ulti back again as Public Execution. Once again, it is magnetized to Viper. Unfortunately this time, they were not distracted. They just turn and they burn him down. Raptor now in trouble as Zeka will find the combo this time. It's a double kill as Viper's going to take the next one. That is 2 pair for now. Will they be able to find the full house with Daystar turning up as the door is going to block? The Ardent Blaze comes in. We just need a cute little dash, and that was a gorgeous pillar of filth there, Peanut. Beautifully done, and there it is. That's the full house, even if it isn't necessarily official.
Remember that story I told about Ambessa ulting onto the Lucian and then getting ulted by Peanut and then disappearing?
Yeah.
That was a theoretical world where that could have happened, and then it happened in reality there for Sobero in that last fight.
And it happened as you predicted. You know, sometimes the lab experiments in real life are kind of similar. As Nexus Turret number 2 going to be going down here as BNK FEARX desperately trying to defend, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Viper is just dashing around, trying to get a couple of extra kills, but the Nexus will explode, and HLE will take the win. It was not clean. No. We need to emphasize that, but it never really felt like they weren't going to win.